So, good morning, Year Six. So, for English this week, we are going to be looking at the genre of writing of detective stories. So, detective and crime mystery style stories. So, today's lesson is a bit of a reading lesson, and you're going to be using the PowerPoint as almost a text, an information text, and then you're going to be answering questions about the PowerPoint in the quiz, which is on Shobi. So you'll see you've got a PowerPoint and a quiz. The PowerPoint is acting like a text, like a story, not like a story, like a information text. So it's got a contents page and a glossary, and it's got lots of information about detective stories in it. And then you're going to use that PowerPoint to answer the questions on the A4 page. So, detective stories. So, I'm sure lots of you have read lots of different detective stories before. I know in my class there's lots of children who like the um, mystery style genre, and lots of the girls like the murder most unladylike. So that's a type of mystery story, and then we've got famous detective stories, such as I don't know if you might have read of any of Sherlock Holmes. We'll be studying a bit of that this week. We have even down to Scooby Doo. Scooby Doo was a famous detective. So, detectives, as you'll find out in this PowerPoint, often have a sidekick. So, this week in your story, you will act as the detective, so you can come up with a detective name for yourself, and then you'll have a sidekick. So you've got to think of the name of your sidekick. So in Scooby Doo, it's a dog, but in your writing, we'd rather that it was an actual human sidekick. So you'll notice that it's quite funny because in our waggle, as we move forward in the week, the detective is called Lucas and the sidekick is named Hogan. And that's because when we wrote it, obviously we thought of the Mr. Hogan and Mr. Lucas, so quite funny. So this week you're going to be looking at the detective genre. So let's go to the PowerPoint. So I've opened somebody's Shobi so it's easy for you to see. So because it's a reading lesson today, you're going to be looking at the structure and organization of the text, and that's the PowerPoint. PowerPoint is the text, including grammatical and presentational features. So it's supposed to act as an information text, and you're supposed to be able to answer questions on an information text. But there are some tasks as you work through. So as you can see in red here, it says, what does the word sleuth mean? List as many synonyms for sleuth as you can think of. So hopefully you can find out the answer to that because that will be a good word that you can use in this genre of writing. Okay, so then it explains what detective fiction is. I'm going to let you read that because it's a reading lesson for yourself. And then you'll see there's a contents page because it's supposed to be an information text. And then each page in the PowerPoint is part of the contents page. So you'll see glossary of keywords, what is a red herring, etc. Okay, so then it tells you some definitions. Now, this is really useful for this week's worth of lessons because it tells you different words that are very popular in the detective genre of writing. Then you've got some technical terms. It tells you what a red herring is and elements of a mystery story, the rules of crime solving, and then clues, and there's a little quiz at the end. Appearances can be deceiving as well, so there's information about appearances and then a little bit about Scooby Doo and Sherlock Holmes at the end of the actual text. So, what you're doing is you're reading through this PowerPoint and imagining that it's an information text and then answering the questions on the A4 sheet. So, by the end of this lesson, you should be able to comment on the structure and organisation of an information text about the detective genre, and you should understand a lot more about detective writing. Okay, Year Six, enjoy the lesson. Thank you.